Hey, what's up? I'm Channel Pup Fanboy Supervillain. Today we are reviewing Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings Episode 2. If you haven't seen my review of Episode 1 yet, I highly recommend checking that out before watching this one. There are some points that I made about the animation that I'll be referencing here, but I won't be repeating. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you feel like becoming my boss, the link to the Patreon is in the description below. All support is hugely appreciated. Thank you very much. Previously, we looked at Episode 1 of Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings, Shadow and Maria, where visions of the past had Shadow searching for answers aboard the Space Colony Ark as to whether or not Black Doom may have survived their previous encounter. I quickly want to clear up, in my first review I said that Shadow considered whether or not Professor Gerald was alive, which many pointed out was incorrect. It was Black Doom, and it was confirmed by this episode in the end.
I have reason to believe the Black Arms have returned.
Now, while I was satisfied with the tender dynamic between Shadow and Maria in the first episode, I am thrilled to see that there's more interactions between the two in this episode as well, as we start with a flashback aboard the Ark. I praised that first episode exploring Shadow's trauma in a way that justified his characterization in a way that we haven't really explored before in official media, and this episode does not slow things down on that front, as the episode begins with the young gun commander running from Shadow, calling him a freak. So yes, the gun commander is back. The retcon in Shadow the Hedgehog that the commander of gun grew up with Maria aboard the Ark kinda always struck me as silly, especially given that the dude had grey hair even as a kid. Like, was the heterochromia not enough to identify him? But here they're fully leaning into that. He's a grey-haired child. We don't see much of their dynamic, but I could definitely believe that Maria was like a sister to him. Also, he finally gets a name. Abe, short for Abraham. Sonic Team possibly taking on some Archie lore here, with the gun commander's name being Abraham Tower. I really appreciate this. They could have easily drawn from the films calling him Commander Walters, but instead opted to acknowledge Archie, even if in a minuscule way. Once again, acknowledging Archie is something I've been asking for the past year since I got into Archie Sonic. I have thoroughly condemned Sega's refusal to acknowledge Archie Sonic. And now, after the previous episode acknowledged my issues with Shadow's characterization, now we're acknowledging Archie. Sega, you are on fire right now. Shadow looks over a Black Arms larvae, pondering if there's any difference between himself and the angry creature that stares back at him. After all, it's part of him. Once again, Maria is Shadow's source of comfort, reassuring him that he has a heart beneath all the brooding and that he's capable of forming bonds and worthy of love, because on a fundamental level, he does care. And that transitions us to an adventure with Team Dark. Oh my god! Yes! Yes! We've never been so back! Excuse me. So a little directorial choice I absolutely adore here is that when Shadow is getting lost in his own head about who he is and his DNA, you notice the lights of the scene dim until only Shadow and the creature are visible, highlighting just how alone and isolated he feels. That the only creature he truly has any ties to are this demonic creature. But I've just thought about something else. Stay with me here. This marks the second time that Maria Robotnik has hugged Shadow in these shorts. I'm going somewhere with this. These are not just hugs, these are tackle hugs, dashing up to someone and throw your arms around them. Now, there's a certain other Sonic character that is known for tackle hugging just about anyone that even slightly resembles her darling Sonic, Amy. So a large part of the reason why Amy managed to get through to Shadow in Sonic Adventure 2 was because he saw Maria in her. He saw someone worth making that promise to. But we always kinda had to take his word for it, as we never truly got to know Maria like we do here. Here, Maria is portrayed as kind, excitable, reassuring, and someone with a penchant for tackle-hugging a hedgehog in need. Could this also be a callback to when Amy first meets Shadow in Sonic Adventure 2? During the same old tackle hug because the stupid idiot mistook him for her darling Sonic. But we do see Shadow smile in that cutscene, one of the rare instances of him doing that in this game. I think this was possibly a conscious decision to portray Maria Robotnik in a similar way to Amy Rose, further instating how she got through to him at the end of Sonic Adventure 2. So suck on that, Amy Rose World Savior Deniers. Pink Idiot Nation, rise up! So we return to the present day under the Shattered Moon, which I guess has just been retconned to have stayed that way, rendering Sonic X non-canon. Bummer. Shadow runs into Rouge and Omega at Robotnik's pyramid base from Sonic Adventure 2, battling it out with a horde of egg pawns. This marks the first time we've truly seen Team Dark fully assembled like this in just a very long time, and boy, is it ever good to see. These three are just so much fun to have on screen together, more so now that we're really solidifying their personalities. Shadow as this introverted little dude who struggles expressing himself, Rouge with her signature confidence, and Omega just being the destructive little Eggman hater that he is. This trio are immensely fun to watch together. I discussed how good the sound design was in the previous episode's review, and this new episode is no exception, but one thing I did find to be a really hilarious yet subtle touch was whenever Rouge's attacks connect with an egg pawn, they make a squeak-a-toy sound.
Gathering some intel for gun.
I have no idea why, but I find that very charming. I'm in love with her. So Shadow wants to commandeer one of Robotnik's spacecrafts from the pyramids to head back to the Ark, suspecting Black Doom may still be alive. But Rouge informs him that this is just a supply depot. Team Dark are confronted by a giant egg pawn, and I love how Omega calls dibs on destroying him. Omega, you are so silly. The shot where Shadow launches into the air with a destroyed moon behind him while he delivers the final blow is ridiculously raw. Seriously, Sega, where are you finding these directors? They're amazing! So after the battle, Rouge makes an offer. Hook Shadow up with a ship through raiding a gun base, provided he come to Sonic's birthday party. Shadow groans and she takes that as a yes. This is something I love so much about her dynamic with Shadow. She, unlike a lot of others, can actually read him. Through his grumbling reluctance, she knows he's willing to do what it takes to achieve his goals, so she's working in an opportunity for Shadow to socialize a little. I'll bet she didn't have to do this to get him to go to Amy's party, though. Sorry, Son Amy fans, while I'm not a massive shipper, I do think Shad Amy is the better ship. It doesn't really add anything to Sonic or Amy's character for them to be together, but with Shadow, we understand another side to him, and it also means that Amy gets to move on. Where the fuck was I? Okay, this was a shorter episode, but it crammed in a lot there in service of its characters. If this little series is a character study on Shadow and how he's being represented now, I am thrilled with this. He's lived his entire life at odds with his very existence. Gaining his trust is difficult because he doesn't even trust himself, but he's still capable of forming bonds, and in turn, being happy. That's literally all I need to see from Shadow. Knowing that he is capable of being happy makes him far more endearing. It makes him worth investing in. But there's another thing I was happy to see here, and I'm going to be drilling quite deep here. Why is Rouge asking Shadow to come to Sonic's birthday party? Could it be a favor for Sonic? Maybe because she knows it would be good for Shadow to socialize a little? Either answer's good to me. See, an issue I took with the Between Two Hedgehogs Tail Tube episode was the implication that not only would Shadow and Sonic never form any kind of bond, but that Sonic actively dislikes Shadow as well, beyond just teasing him.
I don't know, buddy. We never really got along.
I always felt Sonic Prime did a much better job with this, in that Sonic does like Shadow and enjoy his company, while Shadow is uncomfortable with how much Sonic can be. He's a lot to him. It's a fun pairing of the introvert and the extrovert, and the idea that these two will never be close, but do have a degree of respect for each other, makes me really happy. I don't need Sonic and Shadow to be best friends, but the idea that Sonic has asked Rouge to invite him to his birthday party is just the dynamic between the two that I would like to see. Oh, they're nailing this. They're doing it on their terms too. This is really good. This also does confirm that the events of Shadow Generations are happening parallel to the events of Sonic Generations. But then, whoa, how is Chaos Island and Sunset Heights gonna be in the game? Time travel. Duh. The animation is stellar, as it was before, and I won't go too deep into that because I've talked pretty extensively about that with episode 1. But again, I would love a whole series or movie in this animation style. There's a bit more action this time, with Team Dark facing off against the Egg Pawns and the Big Boy. The action is directed wonderfully, feeling incredibly slick while keeping a nice organic flow between the team banter and the action. I adore Sonic X, it's easily my favorite Sonic TV show, but his action could never begin to compare to this level. Seeing this pure action brought to life like this in an animated project is awesome. Although not novel, as credit where it's due, Sonic Prime did do a great job in the action department. I gotta talk about the performances again real quick. Kirk Thornton and Stephanie Sheh are once again excellent as Shadow and Maria, but now we have Rouge and Omega. Karen Strassman reprised her role as Rouge, and okay, I know there's a multitude of reasons why people were dreading her returning as Rouge for this project. Partly because of her very extreme political views that she's very vocal about, and I'm gonna say, valid, I can't say I approve of those, but also because, well, her previous performances as Rouge have been a real mixed bag to say the least. I'm with the general consensus that her performance as Rouge in Sonic Dream Team was terrible. Way too squeaky. You could hear her voice breaking constantly. Just a totally confused performance. Her performance in Team Sonic Racing was also a bit too on the, shall we say, I'm using my rose toy end of the spectrum. But she did do a good job in Sonic Generations and Sonic Forces. Once again, it goes to show that direction is a factor here. This is, fortunately, one of her better performances. A bit more natural sounding, but she does a nice job conveying that cheeky confidence that Rouge carries herself with. Again, not getting stuck in the weeds over political views, although I will say I haven't heard of a single instance where someone became a better person because a load of people lobbied for them to lose their job. I don't know, mail them a pamphlet or something. I know it's a shitty situation. Playing Omega this time is Roger Craig Smith, who played Omega in the Tails Tube Christmas special, and that clearly wasn't just a temporary arrangement, which I'm okay with, as I think Roger Craig Smith does a great job as Omega. He sounds like Omega. Totally deadpan, monotone performance that still somehow manages to sound a little cheeky. So overall, yeah, super promising. I do wish these could be a little longer. I won't lie, I just want, more of it. Just keep it coming. But these shorts have been absolutely astounding so far. Brilliantly written, just wonderfully animated and directed. Across the board, this is just ridiculously high quality stuff for a brand as big as Sonic to be doing. More, please. I wonder which animation studio will be handling the Chow Tales, actually. I'm really looking forward to that. Alright, hell yeah.
Don't laugh at 9/11 again.
Well, what do you folks think? Comment below, discuss, and as always, if you've enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is the link to my Patreon page, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get your name in the credits of these videos, as well as other benefits. A special shout out goes to the patrons in the $5 and above tiers. They are Chohenshin, KB, RT0, Calx, Hypes, Sad Goku, Dare Denny, SSS06, Kale Bennett, Ken K, Mr. SP, Cyrus the Skeptic, Biotin, oh no, I've used up all of the helium, what am I meant to do now? And Vera Wild. Thank you good folks so much for your generosity, and to those of you at home, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Now get out of here.